Sophia just on here before mentioned that you guys are close, and she was talking about how all the emotions that she's felt in the last few months leading up to her first World Cup and now looking forward to the tournament. I'm sure people who have been there before, like yourself or not, have a lot of emotion as well. How do you personally and collectively go about managing those emotions? Positive ones like excitement, negative ones like anxiety, which Sophia mentioned. How do you get yourself mentally ready for a tournament like this that's quite different from all the others?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Soph and I are really, really, really close. I mean, she's basically auntie to my, my son. And, I try to just share with her that, you can't get too ahead of yourself. I think what she has been really great at focusing on is doing everything that she can do in that day and being present, and I think the reality is, we're playing in the league. Obviously, we're playing in these games leading into a World Cup. And I think the best preparation for a World Cup is that training session that you have the very next day, that game that you have the very next moment. So I think just staying present and kind of working on that preparation, I think for me settles my anxiety, because the reality is, the World Cup is not for another, 30 days. And it really is about taking every day, every step. So I think that's kind of how we will have been trying to balance and manage emotions. It's exciting times, obviously, but a bunch of us have one more game left, obviously, before we close out this international kind of break and off to join the national team. And I think it's really about just staying present and preparing yourself.
Let's go to Julie Foudy. Go ahead, Jules.
Okay, unmuted. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Donner, congratulations, my friend, on making it. And 2 questions for you. This is first World Cup where we've had more diversity than ever on the U.S. team, so which is so fantastic to see. So your thoughts on that, and then also tactical question. I know you've been crushing it in midfield at the club level, and those discussions you're having with Latko right now regarding possibly being versatile in that situation as well.
Yeah. First question. Yes, more diversity is obviously so amazing. It's something that I'm most passionate about, just as a player, as a person. Just that visibility and representation, I think, is really important. As a woman of color, I've always tried to play for something more than myself. Every time I take the field, I know that I'm representing minorities who not everyone has had that opportunity to kind of step foot into the game, and let alone kind of continue on to reach the highest level. So I think visibility and representation is really important. It's something that we are getting better and better at. In this World Cup, we obviously have a lot of women of color kind of representing the national team. And I think it's absolutely amazing. And I'm so excited to know that the women's game is growing and progressing in the way that I am really proud of. And to answer your second question, yeah, there really hasn't been any conversations. I think, Vlatko's kind of like, yeah, Crystal, like, keep it up. You're doing well in the league. But it's like, I don't think he's saying that to be like, you're doing well in the league to like potentially kind of move into a different role in the national team. I think he's always been supportive of kind of the double duty that I pull, and everything that I get to do in the club level is amazing. And, for me, it's a joy to obviously play in the midfield, but I think the reality is like, yeah, I'm ready for my new role when I take the field with the national team, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
Thanks, CD. Let's go to Matt Cannon. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey guys, thanks for letting me ask a question. I just wanted to ask you, Crystal, about this is sort of a team that's kind of in transition, in the sense that there's like an interesting mix of veteran players and young upcoming stars. What advice have you personally given to these younger players, especially those who are playing in their first World Cup? And what's the dynamic like in the group between the older and the younger players? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, great question. There is a good blend of veteran players who've been to a World Cup or an Olympics before. And there's obviously a big group of players that this will be their first major roster that they make. I think for me, I've always tried to share that, we're all given a role, whether you're completely excited and happy about your role or not. It's about really executing your role to your best ability, because that's how we become successful. That's how we win championships. So, my advice is always to players like, enjoy the grind, enjoy the journey. be prepared that your role that you're given now may not be your role that you have throughout the tournament, but staying on your toes and being flexible, I think, is the massive thing that you have to remember when you're in a tournament, because anything can happen, whether it's injuries, whether it's form. Players have to be prepared and ready for anything. So it's really about just honing in on your role and executing it to your best ability.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Matt. Let's go to Jackie Gutierrez. Go ahead, Jackie.
Thank you. Hey, Crystal. Appreciate you taking some time. Just thinking about the evolution of your career, obviously from the 2015 roster cut to winning the 2019 title, and then now entering this tournament as a mom. Just what are you most proud of when you think of your national career?
Oh, I think I'm most proud of, the strength that I've endured. I think, this is a hard day for a lot of people. And I think, I always go back to that 2015 roster that I didn't make. And it was a pivotal moment in my career. I could have easily, let that moment define who I was going to be as a player moving forward. But instead, I really took that moment and realized that, a coach's decision in that set situation doesn't dictate who I get to be and who I choose to be. And from there on, I think I kind of really learned to invest in myself and be proud of myself, give myself grace. And I think all the lessons that I learned in 2015 is actually something that I hold dear to me even today. Just, being patient with myself, celebrating myself. I think, as women, especially, we don't celebrate ourselves enough. When we do something great, we're kind of already looking for that next thing to keep proving ourselves to others. And I think I've learned along the way to really sit with myself, sit with my thoughts, check in on myself. And I think, 2015, without that moment, I don't know if I'd be the player that I am today, because I think you almost have to go through something like that to realize that, you're okay. Like, this moment sucks. It's going to hurt for a little bit, but, continue on the journey and just trust yourself in all that you're going to continue doing.
Well said, Crystal. We're still waiting for Alex Morgan, so we'll go to a couple more. Nancy Armour, go ahead.
Hey, Crystal, congratulations. 2 questions for you. You obviously are teammates with Becky in Portland, so I'm wondering what your emotions were like when you found out she wasn't going to be on the roster, and how does that, or does it change your leadership responsibilities? And more importantly, is Marcel going to the World Cup with you?
Yeah. When I got wind of Becky's status, I was really heartbroken for her. She's, one of my really great friends. She's an amazing teammate, and everyone knows, the world knows, she's an incredible leader. So, losing her is bigger than just her play on the field. Her ability to gather the group and really lead us in the right direction at all times, I think, is something that we are going to greatly miss. I checked in with her. We've had a lot of communication back and forth, and it hurts. She's doing okay. She's the leader that she is, and she's always, thinking about the team first. And I kind of had to tell her, like, it's okay to think about your situation and not only care about the team at this moment, because at the end of the day, we're all human, and I think this is something that she really wanted to be a part of course. And I know that, she's hurting, and I think every day she'll probably be on the journey of healing from it. But, she is somebody that's going to be greatly missed. As far as my leadership role, I mean, I don't need the captain's band to know that I'm good at leading in the way that I think I lead best. And I think for me, a lot of people have been asking questions like, do you consider yourself a leader? How, are you more of a veteran player that likes to kind of stay behind the scenes and things like that? But I lead on the field the best that I can. I lead from, the sideline in any way that I can. And I think everything that I've learned from Becky is really all about just being the best player showing up possible. And that means not just on the field, but that means encouraging your teammates. That means giving words of advice when you see fit, and just, overall just being the best version of yourself in that environment. So that is something that I've always learned from Becky. And I'll hope to try to do my best, obviously, in leading the group in this World Cup. And as far as my sweet baby boy, yes, he will be there. He will be there the whole time, hopefully all the way through to the very end. And this is my obviously first major tournament with a child. So I think being a mom is going to give me this newfound motivation and just purpose kind of being on the field. I think now I'm playing for something bigger than myself, even more than all that I represent. I'm representing, obviously, being a mom. So I think that's really cool, and I'm excited for it.
That kid is getting his passport stamped.
Yes, he is.
All right, last question goes to Andrew Jones. Go ahead, Andrew.
Thanks, Aaron. Congrats, CD, on making your second World Cup team. And you got that news from Lil Wayne, giving you
Yeah.
Lucy with that, getting it from Weezy. Your thoughts on getting that message from him, the rest of the celebrity messages from the team,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also and how great that was. And you saw Lynn and also Christy get that, and Kelly get the announcement on today's show. Was there any show that you would like your World Cup announcement to be in?
Okay, I will say getting that announcement from Lil Wayne was incredible. I mean, everybody was hitting my line like, do you know him? Do you know him? I'm like, no, but listen, the man said my name already. So like, I feel like we kind of know each other now, you know? Secondly, yeah, I feel like I'm a big fan of Undisputed, but I now know that like Shannon Sharpe has left that show. So I don't know how I feel about Undisputed anymore, but that was definitely a show that I'm like, yo, like I need to be announced on that show. Like if Shannon Sharpe was that person for me, like, yeah, that'd be incredible.